The demonic armies of Limbo, led by the brand new King Chasm, are ready to march on New York. Will Spider-Man and his allies be able to stop them before it's all too late? And will anyone actually care by the time everything is said and done? Well, let's hop into the pages of Dark Web Finale issue number 1 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, Ben Reilly, the newly crowned King of Limbo, and his gal Friday, Hallows' Eve, make their way through the destroyed, demon-ridden streets of New York. It's also around here I'm reminded that, oh yeah, Dark Web started as a Christmas story, didn't it? Now it's February 1st and it all seems really weird in retrospect. Janine and Ben reminisce about some half-remembered holiday they had together that probably wasn't real at all because Ben doesn't have his core memories anymore and Janine lost her own mind after becoming Hallows' Eve in Limbo. Which, boy, that sure is convenient, isn't it, that Janine, who was always Ben's true North Star, lost her mind too to help justify this villainous turn. Now, at the end of the last issue, you'll remember that Spider-Man, the X-Men, and the now newly face Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen, had agreed to join forces to battle Ben. Only for some reason it was decided here in this issue that they needed to waste a little page real estate with Spider-Man arguing with everyone else for wanting to back him up. I can't trust you, Goblin Queen, this is half your fault, which, I mean, yeah, he's right. But like, why can't you trust the X-Men? Cause this is my fight and I'm gonna take Ben on my own, for some reason. By far though, my favorite part of this issue, if you twisted my arm and made me pick a favorite part, is when challenged about not accepting help with Chasm, Spider-Man says that he knows full well that Ben hates him more than anything else in the world and that he's far from an evil genius because that whole eat the evil demon fruit plan was maybe the dumbest idea ever. Oh my god, the book has now finally become self-aware. Spider-Man in the story is now poking holes in the narrative. You know, Dark Web may be total ass candy poo garbage, but it's scenes like this that make it so I can't totally blame Zeb Wells. He knows full well what he's writing here. And it all just reeks of editorial interference and mandates. Now, when the heroes finally do make it back to New York to mount a counterattack against the demons of Limbo, we basically lose track of Spider-Man for a huge chunk of time, and instead ride with the mutants' POV as they end up pushing back the demons. Magic, of course, being very important in this fight, using her magical abilities to send the Insidious Six back to Limbo. Not that they ever had a chance anyway. That team is like, what, a couple hours old, having to go up against a battle-hardened X-Men team? Oh yeah, that's a fair fight. Oh, but that's not all. Dark Web goes out of its way to try and wrap up a bunch of different storylines from the tie-ins. Remember how Venom was in this for a second, everyone? Yeah, I do too. Apparently he lost his memories and became Bedlam, which makes a lot more sense if you've been reading the main Venom book. And if not, this bit probably confused the hell out of you and the story doesn't go out of its way to explain itself. Basically, all you need to know is Bedlam is evil red Venom who has chainsaw arms. Man alive, I really wish I was reading Venom right now instead of this. Now, we're 3 minutes in too, and you're probably asking yourself, wait, are we gonna actually get any Spider-Man in this Spider-Man story? Well, we do. Unfortunately, Dark Web goes out of its way to make me regret actually wanting to spend time with Spider-Man. You see, Pete goes to challenge Ben one-on-one, and you think to yourself, oh man, here we go, we're finally gonna get to the meat and potatoes of this story, we're finally gonna have this showdown, they're finally gonna have to be forced to talk out their problems. The only problem is, all the drama that should be there gets instantly sucked out of the room because goddamn Wreck Rap is there, Spider-Man's demon bizarro buddy who won't leave him alone now. Spider-Man also can't beat King Chasm now because he's been supercharged by the Scythe of Sorrows, but don't worry, he ends up getting some help by the return of Gold Goblin and Miss Marvel. Two characters who also had much better tie-in stories. I also find it truly hilarious that it's Miss Marvel who ends up beating Hallows' Eve, which is like, yeah, no duh, why was everyone having such a problem with Janine? She's only been a supervillain for like 2 weeks now. Of course, a teen with way more experience under her belt could totally kick her Party City ass. It's here too we finally enter the home stretch of this story, and honestly, Dark Web just stops trying, as if it was really trying before. You see, Madeline Pryor realizes that she never really needed the Scythe of Sorrows to command her demon army. The evil magical power was in her all along. She just had to believe in herself and also don her original, much more skimpier costume. And I mean, yeah, if a woman dressed like that yelled at me and told me to do something, I'd kinda just have to do it. I'm a simple man, what can I say? With the fight quickly turning against them and the good guys converging on them, Ben actually does the one reasonable, sensible, sympathetic thing he's done all story long and actually sends Janine away so she won't get punished. He then instantly ruins this by having another one of his emo try-hard lines wherein he says, "You think you know pain? I was born in the briar patch, you know, like Briar Rabbit." I just, like, seriously, are they trying to make him the worst? Are they trying to make him ridiculous? Because if so, they've succeeded. Okay, but at least Spider-Man beats him, right? He beats him and is a big damn hero. No, actually, Spider-Man doesn't even defeat Chasm in this story. He literally sits back. While Madeline regains her scythe, even though she just said she didn't actually need it to lead the demon armies, and then Magic gets in a good slash with her magic sword, turning Chasm just back into regular Chasm. This is beyond parody at this point. Spider-Man literally did nothing in all of Dark Web. You could have taken him out of the story and everything probably would have proceeded exactly the same. Okay, but what is actually going to be done about Ben, right? This is finally the moment where they decide to help him now that he's not a threat anymore? No, actually, they want to throw him in jail. But somehow that gets even dumber because Madeline steps on in and says that because Ben lived in Limbo as long as he did as a broken, lost, and forgotten thing, he is an official citizen of that realm now? Okay, sure, pull that out of your ass at the 11th hour. So Ben is actually going to be imprisoned by the Goblin Queen and face Limbo justice, which means he's actually going to be a prisoner at the brand new Limbo Embassy in New York. Yes, you heard me right, King Chasm brought Madeline Pryor's castle through the portal to New York and they've decided they're just gonna leave it here now. Spider-Man still goes to visit Ben and asks him to show him that there's still a shred of good inside him, only to get no response. Again, Spider-Man offers no comfort or even offers to help Ben, he just wants him to know that he's got an eye on him. It gets even stupider too. As in her first big speech to the public, Madeline says that she wants the Limbo Embassy to try and help all lost and forgotten things like her and Ben were. Geez, lady, I don't know, why don't you help Ben first? Why don't you let Jean copy Peter's memories and give them to him like she did for you? This is such an easy fix. And I mean, it clearly worked for the Goblin Queen too. She stopped being a villain in mere minutes. What the hell? It's on that note that this story blissfully comes to an end. And so that was Dark Web Finale issue number 1, everybody. And if you couldn't tell, I was not a fan. This is easily, without a doubt, the worst Spider-Man story I have read in years and one of the worst Marvel events I've read in God only knows how long. It is a story that serves no one. No character involved in this story comes out of it looking good. Everyone looks incompetent or stupid or just plain uncaring. It's a bad story told poorly and for very illogical reasons. Ben Reilly wasn't left in a great place at the end of the Beyond saga, and yet somehow, someway they've found a worse place to leave him now. Geez, being the Jackal for a little bit didn't do as much damage to Ben's character as this story has. How fitting is it that the last time I was this disappointed with Spider-Man was, well, during the Clone Saga, so geez, Ben, you have the great distinction of being the character who has now twice made me want to quit Spider-Man. It's so annoying too because the fixes for all the problems in this story are so painfully obvious, and the fact that the writer doesn't take any of them, again probably due to editorial pressure, makes reading the whole thing an absolute challenge of patience. Hell, at times the book almost feels like it's dipping its toes into self-parody. Like it knows it's bad and that none of the characters are actually developing or interact in any meaningful way, and they just need to get to the next milestone and the next milestone. By far though, the most damning part of this story may be that Spider-Man himself actually has so little skin in the game in this story. He basically sits in the background of all of Dark Web. Well, the supporting cast actually is given better narrative material to chew on over in their tie-in books. Hell, by the end, this basically just becomes a full-on X-Men story. Because God only knows the next time they reference Limbo and the new embassy, it ain't gonna be in a Spider-Man story. You can mark my words on that one. Overall, I detested Dark Web. I'm sick of talking about it. I'm going to be glad when I no longer have to think about it. I would give this one a 3 out of 10, and that's pretty generous. But I figure I had to at least give them a couple points for me being actually able to see what was going on the page, and there being no spelling or grammar errors. But even with that, this whole story was not worth the paper it was printed on. Truly, we have witnessed a brand new low for Spider-Man.
Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.